Okay, so I am here with Casey Gilly, the writer of Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer. It's been a 4-issue miniseries, it's been a special, and it's about to be a brand new series which kicks off next month. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today.
Thank you, this is so exciting.
How has your con been so far?
A blur, a very hot blur. I've only been here one day, and yesterday was just back-to-back signings and panels.
I saw you were signing down at the Boom booth. How is it when you get to meet fans in this kind of environment?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's great. I'm very happy for it. But most of my books started coming out during the lockdown, and I didn't meet anybody.
Yeah.
So I was just writing away, like, I'm sure someone's reading all this. And then last year was my first San Diego since 2017.
Oh, wow.
And it just hadn't occurred to me that people were reading the books. So it was just a crush of people. I was like, are you sure you know this is the right line? And so this year I was more prepared. But it's just so nice getting to talk to people who have enjoyed the book, or who are fans of Buffy, or who are just excited about a new chapter in the series, and I love it. So even if it is overwhelming and hot, I'm so grateful that this is my job.
Yeah.
There's nothing else I'd rather do.
That's amazing. So take me back to the beginning. So how did The Last Vampire Slayer first come about for you?
Sure. So my editor, Elizabeth Bray, who is fantastic, had just moved to Boom from IDW. And Elizabeth had been my editor on Star Wars and on a couple of other projects. And as soon as she got to Boom, she emailed me and said, I think I have a project for you. And it was pretty loose. She said, we want to have a book where Buffy is older, and she's living in a world where the vampires can walk free. I know that it's Friday, but can you have a pitch to me by Monday? And I said, I absolutely can. So that was really it. We had a great relationship. She's one of my favorite editors. She is so great to work with. The pitch was approved pretty quickly, and we started scripting, I want to say a week later.
Wow.
And I wrote the first 2 scripts. I mean, it was under a week. It was some of the fastest writing I'd ever done. Because I just really knew what was happening, and it was something that I didn't realize I'd been thinking about. But I had. So the reception was great. We got to do more. The reception was great. We got to do more. And here I am a year later still writing Elder Buffy, and I love it.
I am that generation that grew up watching the show.
Same.
I was a little younger than they were, but it was kind of the aspirational, it's probably not the right thing to say, aspirational version of...
Older teens.
Yeah. With the show having kind of, ended, 20 years ago, I hate to think now. Did you have that in your mind at all, that not necessarily what had happened in the show and how it had ended, but how long fans had to kind of think about what she might have done next, or where her life might have taken her after the show had ended?
I don't think I did think about that. I think that what was top of mind for me was, I have this opportunity to write in an alternate universe. So I'm not beholden to canon.
Yeah.
I can bring people back, I can kill people, I can have new characters, and I can change things that were in the series that I felt like would make more sense for the story. And that was really where my head was. I think that Buffy is a fascinating fandom because the people who are in it, there are things that happen in the show that I feel like there are very normal reactions to, like very common reactions of like, oh, I just don't think about that as canon because it didn't make sense, or it didn't seem like it fit with the characters. And the character design and development and everything that went into it is so consistent and good that when something didn't feel right, it was just easy to spot and go,
Yeah.
I didn't love that. So I did have that in my head that I was really trying to separate, to just focus on this story. I write a lot of licensed comics. I try not to be too much of a fan of what I'm writing because I want to do justice to the story.
Yeah.
I want to make the licensors happy and make sure I'm on brand and make sure that, their vision is upheld. But then there's also this empirically right core to every story, and that was what I really wanted to get to with this.
And then we jump forwards now to this brand new series, which is kicking off next month.
Yes.
What can you tease about the next chapter?
So, everybody's a bit older. Thessaly is in her early 20s.
Wow.
And she is fully living in her Slayer identity. Buffy is her watcher. They have moved to a little beach town called Santa Carmen. One of my favorite movies in the whole world is Lost Boys.
Yeah.
And I don't know, creative brains just going into this arc, the only thing I could think was I want to make a Lost Boys homage. So Thessaly works at a boardwalk.
Nice.
In a beach town in Northern California, which is where I'm from. And she is balancing her life between slaying and living. Buffy and Spike go on a much-needed vacation,
Aw.
and Anya comes to be a temporary watcher. And if anybody has read my series, one of my favorite parts is writing Anya. I love her. I love this contentious relationship she has with Buffy.
Yes.
Where they're really good friends, but Buffy just hates her. And Anya is so good and tries so hard. And this story had been brewing since the first arc of informing why Anya is the way she is.
Okay.
And I had planned to bring it into this arc, but I just finished the last issue and it exploded in a way I had not anticipated. But you do see a lot more Anya and Thessaly, and you see a lot of a different style of Watcher.
Okay.
A different type of adult influence with another adult Slayer, which, as much as I love the series, I did think it would be fascinating to see, like, what is an older Slayer's dynamic with an older Watcher?
Yeah.
And what if that older Watcher is somebody that isn't really their Watcher, that they can kind of dismiss, and it's also Anya?
That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
So Thessaly has a girlfriend and is fighting a demon group that has taken over Santa Carmen, and maybe there's some crossover between her girlfriend and that group. We don't know.
Oh, okay, that's a tease. I wanted to ask you about this. She's such a wonderful character. There are kind of those parallels to maybe some of Buffy's journey with being a Slayer at a young age, but she's come so far in just the number of issues we've had, from this kind of runaway teen type character to being the Slayer.
Her.
Well, this is what I wanted to say. I mean, I know obviously you've created her and you have kind of taken her on this journey, but how do you feel about seeing the journey she's gone on so far?
It's hard to watch your kids grow up. And Thessaly is so outside of me. She has none of my voice. She has, I think sometimes as a writer it can be easy to self-insert. And the second I started writing Thessaly, she was so foreign to me.
Okay.
And I really thought so much about Tara and Willow and what their baby would be like and what she would look like and how she would age. And seeing I just got goosebumps. Seeing the first drawings of Thessaly in her 20s, I cried.
Oh.
Because it's, it's a made-up character. It's a made-up book. But
It's real to us.
the feelings of this journey have been so real.
Yeah.
I'm a parent. I am struggling with my kid being almost 6. And I did want to have a sense of that. Buffy never wanted to be a parent by choice.
Yeah.
And I think that was the right choice for Buffy, and she comes to it later in life, but still has these feelings. So I wanted to have some of that reflected of what is that like, being so proud of this person you've cared for, and also, oh my God, they don't need me at all. And then, oh, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
Which is where Buffy's journey is in this arc, is she doesn't really need me, and now I have to confront all of these things that I've been pushing aside for literally my whole life, all at once, which is her identity. Spoiler, Buffy is no longer the Slayer as of the first arc.
Yeah.
And she's never paused to deal with what that means. And that's a reckoning she has in this arc.
And I presume Spike will be part of that as well. We saw when we came into the special that they had kind of been living as this dysfunctional family. Where does he fit into this story now?
God, I love writing Spike.
Who doesn't?
He loves Buffy so much.
Yeah.
And he's such a little baby girl and just so squishy and sweet. And the very first page I ever wrote of Buffy was a Spike scene that didn't show up until the 3rd issue of the first arc, because I just knew, like, this scene
is the moment.
is in here. Yeah. And if you've read it, it's the scene where he sees her take her clothes off for the first time and is like, damn. And they talk about how he still has feelings for her, even though she thinks he shouldn't. Spike is definitely in this story. He is very much a supportive boyfriend and a supportive father figure to Thessaly. There is a little bit less Spike because there's a little bit more Anya.
Yeah.
But I think that the Spike parts of this really make an impact when he's there. He kicks off the issue with Thessaly. He's one of the first characters you see.
Ooh.
And he's doing a very dad activity with her. I love writing them together. And he does take a little bit of a back seat, but I do think that fans of Spike will really enjoy what happens with him in these issues.
I'm excited to see what happens. So let's talk about the artwork for a second. So you've got Ariel Roig, who is doing the artwork for this.
Yes.
How has it been seeing him bring your story to life?
It's so good. It's so different. Joe Jarrow was the artist for the first 2 arcs, and Joe is a very different artist than Oriel. Oriel has this really playful, cartoony style. There's a little bit of like surreal anatomy and surreal facial expressions, and like a little bit of an anime influence that he brings in, whereas Joe was like very centered and realistic. And I love how playful it is. It's actually inspired me to have a little bit more physical humor because I like seeing what Oriel does with it.
Yeah.
And mostly, I mean, my job is to inspire an artist. Whoever that artist is, I'm going to do my best to make sure that they have room to create, that they feel like they have a voice in the story, that they don't feel like it's dictated to them, that they can look at a script and say, okay, here's what she needs to see and here's what else I can bring to it. I really want to defer to their expertise. Yeah. So seeing someone with such a different style has just been like fascinating and so fun to watch it come to life.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, for those of us who kind of grew up watching the show, we all know that the monsters were the kind of the analogy for the things that we were dealing with ourselves in real life. What do you kind of hope that fans take away from this chapter of the story?
I don't want to spoil anything,
No,
but
let's not spoil it.
A big part of this arc is the scale to which somebody can be a hero.
Yeah.
I tend to prefer very small stake stories. Everybody can make the world end. But I think that it takes a different approach to have something small and personal with a much lower blast radius that you really see how it affects the people around you. And that's where we're going to see Anya a lot in this arc, is bringing a different point of view about what it means to save somebody and what kind of people in this very black and white Slayer mindset deserve to be saved.
Wow.
And what does that mean for Thessaly's mindset about how she approaches Slayers and demons and monsters and things that are in between?
I honestly can't wait to read it. I've been such a fan of it from all the issues so far, so I'm excited to see where it goes next. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your con.
You too. I hope you guys have a great weekend.
Thank you. Thanks for watching, Super Friends. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to hit the subscribe button just down below and hit the bell so that you can get notified whenever we release brand new videos. In fact, there's 2 more waiting for you to watch right here below. So what are you waiting for? Why not click play?